Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. The 10F Widebody has just been released with the Benny's upgrade, which we thought would come with the original car on day one of the release of this car, but they ended up releasing it almost a month later. But finally we have the widebody, and it actually does add some performance to the 10F. It's only a tiny bit, but it does make a difference and puts this at the number 2 spot for lap time and number 1 spot for the fastest sports car without any of the House Push Works upgrade sports cars not included. So let's take this to the track, my personal custom made new lap time testing track. And here we go with the 10F. So we're just gonna bring this around the circuit and compare it to the Itali GTO, which is currently the number 1 sports car without any House Special Works upgrades to it. Now compared to the Pariah is so much faster just because it is so much faster than any other sports car in the game. But for this one, we're testing the 10F against the Itali GTO because these two are very close. So the 10F is more, the handling isn't as good as the GTO, and that's where the GTO is better in the lap times. The handling is kind of random with the 10F. Sometimes it likes to oversteer and sometimes it likes to understeer. So that is why the Itali GTO, as you will see coming up, is a tiny bit faster in the laps. But the 10F really makes up most of its lap time in the straights. And this is why I love this track, is because it has 2 major straights, and the rest is corners, where the Itali GTO does come back. And you'll see how big of a difference that does make. But taking the 10F around this track here, you can see how good it is on the straights, but at the corners you have to kind of take it slowly compared to any other sports car, because the 10F is just so unpredictable. You see there I almost spun out right there. Have to take it kind of slow on the bumps too, because it is kind of bumpy, this vehicle, when you drive it. Right there I almost spun out too. I could probably do this a little better, but over the 10 laps I did, this is the best lap I got. And the time we got is 1.03.4 lap time. So taking the GTO on track now, let's see what we get here. Put it side by side for you guys. So lap 4, the 10F you're going to see here, it dominates on straights. I mean, it is so much faster. I think it's about 10 miles per hour faster in the straights compared to the GTO. And here you see, still kind of side by side, but this is where the 10F widebody takes off. And remember, the widebody is a little bit faster than the regular 10F, so if you wanted to use it in races, get the widebody, because even though they're very close, the widebody is a tiny bit faster, and every split second counts in GTA Online with these cars because there are so many cars. But yeah, 10F still ahead even with this little corner segment here, but this is where the GTO is going to catch up in the next few corners. So the GTO kind of catching up right here during the apex right here, but here is where it gets side by side and it just takes off compared to the 10F. You see, the 10F doesn't really like to turn that much, but the Itali GTO is just so consistent with the turning that that's where it makes up most of its time. And you see there, the 10F 1.3, the Itali GTO 1.2 seconds. So let's go to the airport and test out the top speed. Now I'm just using the airport here. You could do the highway, but I'm using the airport just to make it more simple. And most of the time you are not going to be flying from the top to the bottom of the map with these cars, so this is more realistic testing for this car. So let's look inside here. First practice of the straight, we're just going to go from the top to bottom. And we are about to hit 125, I think we do hit 125. Yeah, right there we hit 125. And we got it pretty fast. 125 is pretty good for a sports car, one of the best top speeds for a sports car. So let's take the GTO out now and let's see what we get. So the GTO not as good in the top speed segment as the 10F widebody is, but again in the lap times the GTO makes most of its times in the corners. So what we gain with the GTO? 115, 118 I think we got there on that little bump. 119 is the most obvious right there. So that is a good about 7-8 seconds down from the 10F widebody. And just one more time here, 117, 118 maybe we got there. So yeah, 118 for the Itali GTO and 125 for the 10F Widebody. Now side by side, just one more time here. I didn't get it perfectly lined up, but even without it getting perfectly lined up, the 10F Widebody still beats it by a good margin. We're going to see here the 10F does get there in time, and just going inside one more time for you guys. 125 on the 10F Widebody and 119 on the Itali GTO. You see there, we got there still before the Itali GTO did. Flip this over here for you guys. So let's do this one more time, but this time we're going to take a corner, see if we can get any more top speed out of this car. I think we get about 2 more miles per hour. We're at 123 right now, 124, 125, 126. So we were getting up there. We could probably even extend that more if we had a longer straight, but 126 and that 7th gear is where it always adds up. That makes such a huge difference compared to the Itali GTO. So the 10F is faster in a straight line than the Itali GTO is, which is surprising because the 10F isn't that fast compared to the new ones. But again, without the How Special Works sports cars in this game, this would be at number 1 for the top speed in the sports class. And for the price, that's pretty decent. I mean, it's about $2 million to buy, and another $500,000 for the Benny's upgrade, which only gives you tiniest boost in top speed and quartering. But again, if you're gonna be racing this, you want every split second that counts. And for the upgrades, I'm not gonna touch on this too much because I already did a video on this, but I mean, Benny's doesn't add much upgrades. I think they add a few interior upgrades like the seats. And I don't even remember if the removing the grills is new. Is it? I think that's been in the game for a while now. Okay, so let's go to GTAcars.net, which is where you can see all the lap time testing and everything from Bruffy's testing on YouTube. Let's go to sports here. Filter it by lap time, and as you see, the Itali GTO at number 1 and number 2, the How Special Works S95. Then number 3, the Pariah. Now this is on a different track, but as you saw, my testing, the 10F Widebody was only about 1 or maybe even 0.5 seconds behind the Itali GTO, so it could get the 2nd spot or 3rd spot. But compared to the GTO on top speed, the 10F Widebody is a lot faster. The Itali GTO, you can see it is on a different track, so it's a 0.59, 0.7 second lap time, but the top speed is only 127 miles per hour. That is on the big highway that has more bumps, so it is a little bit faster than the testing I showed you because it is tested on a different track. But an Widebody is a lot faster because, as you saw, even compared on the highway, 10F Widebody is about a few miles per hour faster. And I don't think they have it updated yet. See here if they have it updated. They do not have it updated yet. But it is going to be a lot faster than the 10F. But this is where it gets interesting. Let's go at top speed. You see these How Special Works vehicles here. The 10F Widebody is not going to beat that because it just doesn't have the same upgrades. But then we have the Pariah and the Itali RSX with a top speed of 135.25 miles per hour. And then we have the Itali GTO right here, 127. And as you saw in my testing, the 10F Widebody was actually about 5 miles per hour quicker. So let's see. 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. So 132, let's see it has. That could be right next to Pariah or Itali RSX, which have insane top speeds. It's at the top speed of the sports car class without any How Special Works upgrades. So it could get up here. It could get into 3rd spot, it looks like, because 132 miles per hour, if it is that when Bruffy does his testing. And it's updated on the official website here, which is what I'm looking at right here. It could beat the Corsita or even the Itali RSX for the top speed. So it is one of the fastest. It does beat the Itali GTO, which is what we're looking at in this video. Because Itali GTO, one of the best for racing because it is so evenly, it has good top speed and good lap time. Compared to Pariah, which has good top speed, but the lap time is kind of lacking. Same for the RSX. The RSX has good top speed, the lap time isn't that good. The 10F Widebody, you're going to want to get it. If you already have the 10F, maybe wait for the lucky wheel to have the 10F on the podium. and then you could get that one for free and upgrade that one to the wide body. But this is a very good car if you want to race in GTA Online, and even just upgrades and looks, it is one of the best looking cars in the game. They pretty much just took this straight off of the R8 in real life and just put it in game. Copied the look. I don't know how they got away with doing that, but that's what makes this car one of the best looking vehicles in GTA Online. And one of the fastest now too, confirmed. After making this video, I did all the tests myself. So you should do your testing out yourself to test this out. Don't rely on me, don't rely on other YouTubers. Test this out yourself. But for me, this is a must buy.